Remember, friends, no matter what kind of day you're having, an episode of Colin Green's Spike Pit can make it better.
So I've got a little bit of an addendum, folks. Last time I recorded, I was at a loss for words on a couple of things and made a couple of errors. Well, I've got my Xenos Rampant, and part of the reason, as explained, that I got that, well, there's two main reasons. I love Dragon Rampant, Lion Rampant, the fantasy and kind of historical versions of Daniel Mersey's Rampant series wargame rules. Kind of skirmish wargame, I guess, really. And as I'm familiar with the system, I thought, yep, it's a good place, a good starting place to make a foray into sci-fi. Now, I've never really been a 40k player, and I've got Epic 40k, dabbled with that a little bit, but a load of miniatures, incomplete, not built, not painted. So I wanted a rule system to bring them into the fold, get that buttoned up, and decide on the future of my sci-fi collection. I've got the Necromunda figures, and I was talking about this other range from Foundry. Well, I checked it up. I went into my trusty Foundry compendium. I got my figures out of the loft, and I've actually got 100 figures. They're like assorted gangs from kind of like yardy looking folks, Yakuza types, the skater types, and what I was struggling to think on was Men in Black, so guys in suits. I've got some sort of New York cops, like riot police, SWAT team types as well. All manner of these guys, and there's street violence sets 1 and 2. There was a third, which I believe was like a half set, and I've got a couple of like little limited editions. That I've got like a little devil and an angel character, and some workmen. One coming out of a manhole, and another one with a breaker, kind of pneumatic drill type of thing. So yeah, a little bit of an addendum on that one. And as you may hear, the acoustics are a little bit different because I'm driving about in a van. So it's been a while since I've recorded like that. The other cool thing about the Rampant series is the flexibility, and I'm going to be talking a bit more about Xenos Rampant as I get it to the table. But reading through my initial read through, I've noticed there is quite a lot of little rule hacks and additional rules, scenarios, etc., to recreate different genres of science fiction, and it's largely broken into chunks with kind of sub chunks, if you like. And one I noticed was this idea of the post-apocalyptic and the Mad Max type of conflict. Well, I don't have any actual Mad Max, but it strikes me that this is an ideal opportunity for me to get out my Gorka Morka figures. Never did much with this game, and I was thinking I didn't have any vehicles, but in actual fact I've got some little half tracks, some trucks, some goblin cutters, what else? Like a little gyrocopter. So I've actually got a decent amount of Gorka Morka stuff that would be absolutely ideal for this rule set. I have a Gorka Morka kind of orc fortress, or I do believe I have it somewhere or other, just a matter of finding it. So that's another little project. No shortage of projects, and I'm coming close to 500 episodes, and yeah, I think I'm gonna make a few changes. I've got a few ideas, and well, stay tuned. Watch this space for an announcement or update in the coming weeks.
Hey, Colin, Jason here. I didn't call you about your latest episode, Gaming Roundup 495, but yeah, that's where we're at. Where you're talking at the beginning of the episode about your son buying new games and you guys not even playing them, or at least you have games that you haven't even played, and trying to decide to keep them or play them first. That's the struggle that my son and I face. So I can really relate to that, and I've just got stacks and stacks of games. Some still in the cellophane, but yeah, we're working on purging it, and it's hard. What we ended up doing is we each made a list of 10 board games that we wanted to keep, and we're going to get rid of the rest. And trying to nestle down your game collection to 10 board games can be tough, right? But I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. And it doesn't have to be 10. That just happened to be kind of what we did. And we're probably going to end up keeping a few more than that. We're going to probably end up keeping like 15 each or something. But yeah, the struggle is real, my friend. Oh well. Keep up the great work, and I'll talk to you soon.
And woe is me, sure enough, with the resurgence of my interest in miniatures gaming, the resurgence of my problems with miniatures gaming. Storage. Storage. What a nightmare. Looking after those minis, trying to find a nice way to store them that's not overly pernickety or expensive. And over the years I've tried different things from IKEA and Games Workshop and various solutions have come my way, and there's basically two now that I'm running with, and one of them is the old Games Workshop box with foam inserts, with each insert is divided into individual miniatures. They're like a pinky kind of colour, and you've got a layer of solid foam between each. And I can't remember. There's about three of these foam trays with dividers in each box. And how many figures? I don't know. You probably get a couple of hundred figures, maybe 250, something like that. That's just off the top of my head. Maybe not that many. So if I'm travelling, that would normally provide enough for skirmish games, and you get a few Blood Bowl teams in there, and Necromunda. The games I kind of tend to play or go down to my brother's, I can tote one of those, and that's more than adequate. But for longer term storage, I've got my IKEA wall units. I can't remember which ones I've got now. Bought them years ago, and they don't do them anymore, but they do a similar variant. And this will take 10 litre really useful boxes. I think they're 540 by 300 and something, and they're 80 millimetres deep, or 85 millimetres deep. And they stack, and in each of the cubes that my wall storage is divided into, I will get 6 of these trays. Currently I've got a Savage Orc army occupying one tray, and my most recently semi-retired like plastic orc GW army in another. The only one of those armies that I really use currently are the Savage Orcs, because I'm using my old vintage 80s all-lead Orc army as opposed to my more recent version of the same army. So what I need is some more of these. Oh no, I think it's 8. Actually, it takes 8 trays to a cube. Yeah, so I need to get 6 more, and then I will fill up one whole cube, and that'll probably do me for my regular gaming. Then I'll look at what figures I've got left over, and either move them on, sell them if I can, or just kind of stow them away somewhere, which is not a scenario I really want to entertain. Or potentially I may have to get more storage boxes, fill up another cube, but I also want to avoid that because that is a lot of miniatures at that point. And I don't know if I'd really cycle through that amount. As ever, I don't want this kind of purge, as it were, this organisation to slip into just storing loads and loads of stuff that I don't use. It's really about optimising the experience, getting my real favourite stuff, and the mediocre, or well, what I find mediocre, or just the stuff I don't use, moving it on.
Hey Colin, it's Kevin calling in from the Red Caps podcast. I'm enjoying all these re-released episodes and was wondering if you've done, or if you've put any thought at any point in time into maybe doing an anthology or greatest hits or whatever you would like to call it of your favorite episodes from the 400 plus amazing catalog that you have. In terms of, like, you could either re-release them as a one long episode of several episodes put together, or just as a single episode where you're like, hey, I really enjoyed episode 310, 52, and what have you, and just point people towards those episodes of ones that you think really stand out to you or are memorable to you for whatever reason. I think that'd be an interesting view into the large catalog you have. Anyhow, just an idea. Keep up the great work. I'll keep listening. Take care.
Now, we've had a few call-ins today. They've come in dribs and drabs over the past weeks. And for that, I need to give some thanks. And credit goes to Anthony at the top of the show, the Rune Slinger himself and fellow podcaster with the Casting Shadows podcast. Thank you for your kind words, Anthony. I will accept them, although I don't know how deserved I am in truth. Next, we had Jason Connolly of the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. A man needs no introduction, I'm sure, to any of my listeners. Famous former anchorite. Now he is a Spotify podcaster of some sort. I don't even know what we're called now. I guess in spirit the anchorites live on. And Jason in a recent show was talking about Iron Falcon, the monster book from Chris Gonnerman. I've spoken about Chris Gonnerman and the basic fantasy line quite a lot. The reason I mention it is because it's pertinent to this episode today. I've been delving through the Iron Falcon books. Previously, they were not free PDFs, but Jason pointed out that currently they are now. I downloaded myself some copies and was having a look through. It's kind of launched me off on a bit of a monster project. I've had the Iron Falcon book out, the creature catalogue, and I'm going through them, making some comparisons and putting together a kind of a monster index without stats. And I'll talk about that more another time, but that's been a kind of an enjoyable trip down memory lane. It's going to be on a Google Slides format. And like I say, I'll talk about that another time, but big thanks to Jason. And the last call was from Kevin of the Red Caps podcast. Now this call has been lingering for a while, and basically because I haven't really had anything to say on it and just couldn't entertain this idea of a best of episode or pointing people in the direction of old episodes. But coming up towards the summer, I guess I will be revisiting the podcast again. I'm coming up for 500 episodes, so I am casting an eye back again, reflecting on what I've done and considering where I'm going. And I've mentioned it earlier in this episode. a revamp is probably due. I've no intention of giving up at the present time. So if I don't keep trying new things and changing things up a bit, I feel like I'm not really getting anywhere, not progressing. The whole endeavour was intended to be a one of creativity, and I'd like to think just talking about what I'm up to may in some way inspire others and create some ideas or get people's thoughts stirred up, or I don't know. I just like doing stuff, creating stuff, and currently the podcast is an accessible way for me to do it, if in a somewhat reduced capacity at the moment. So big thanks to Kev, Jason and Anthony. And that, as they say, is a wrap. Big thanks to my patrons over on the Spike Pit Patreon. And last but not least, a big thanks goes out to you, the listener, for taking a bit of time out of your day to listen to old Spike Pit. Take care, and I'll catch you later.